Hey everyone, we have Dancing Cody over here, but welcome to another episode of Star Wars Doctrine. We're excited to be here with you all right now. I'm your host Logan, and with me as always is my co-host Cody. He's in a great mood, but how can we not be? It's 4 days before the Rise of Skywalker. Sorry, we're a little messed up because of the marathon we're doing, but we're super excited. I'm sure you all are as well. So this week, we're just looking forward to the Rise of Skywalker. Sorry, it's been a while since we've done a traditional podcast, but we're excited to be here with you guys. Are you pumped?
I have never been this pumped in my life.
You sure?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's probably accurate, actually.
Yeah, I was like actually thinking about that. I was like I felt this way maybe going into Force Awakens because it was like the first Star Wars film in a long time. But
that was exactly what was going to be my comparison, was the Force Awakens, because that one was like, the star. Will this, will the entire trilogy be good at all? Kind of depended on how I felt about the Force Awakens.
And maybe this one's a lot of nerves too. Like I'm nervous. Like
I think maybe
how they're gonna end it.
Maybe a little more pumped about the Force Awakens, and this one I'm more like, honestly, just terrified.
Yeah, well, it's all the emotions. It's like I don't even know how to cope with it. Like I lay in bed at night and I can't sleep because I'm like. It's just like all these things running through my mind. It's insane.
The actual end is just kind of crazy. Just because it's been so long since we've experienced an end. It's been how long ago was Revenge of the Sith?
2005 or 6? 5?
So almost 15 years since we've experienced an event of this magnitude.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge.
That's just kind of crazy, honestly, when you think about it.
I say you want to fact check that. I think it's 2005, right?
2005, 2008.
No.
2005. We were right.
And then you second guessed yourself.
Didn't you second guess yourself? Because you said 6.
Oh, I said maybe 5 or 6. Okay.
All right.
You threw 8 in there.
I don't know. All right. So we'll get talking about it. Make sure to message us throughout the week. We want to hear from you guys about what you feel about the Rise of Skywalker going into it, questions you have, predictions. We just want to hear what you guys have to say. And we're going to be doing a marathon by Harkins Theaters. We're watching 1 through 9 starting Wednesday at about 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So we will be dead tired, but we're going to be going live in between each showing to talk to you guys, because there's about a 30-minute break between episode 1, 2, etc. So we'll be going live for a little bit, so make sure to catch us.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when it's 5 a.m. and we're really tired and need someone to talk to.
Yeah, well, what are your feelings and thoughts going into that?
I'm pumped just because it's been 22 years since the last time I saw the original trilogy on screen, and I barely remember it.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Just getting to see the original trilogy on the theater is such an amazing experience, I think.
Yeah. And then getting to relive our childhood of totally growing up with the prequels on screen is gonna be cool.
Yeah, I remember going with you all the time as kids to see each Star Wars as it premiered, and that was so cool. So it'll be so nice to be doing that again, and just really seeing Star Wars on the big screen. It's different.
Yeah.
That is a film that really is different on the big screen.
The last time me and you did a marathon where we actually watched them all in one day was before episode 7 came out. Am I right?
Yes. We did 1 through 6. That was. And that, honestly, I think there was so much emotion behind a Star Wars marathon.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Just you felt like when 6 ended, the finale was so almost emotional with how much the galaxy had been through, and that family had put the galaxy through, but had been through themselves,
Yeah. No, I remember feeling different about Star Wars watching it like that, and I'm excited to feel that again. And there was things that me and you were like, well, I never realized how well that...
The continuity is so much more apparent.
Yeah, how that connected with that. So that's cool.
So
no, I'm excited. It'll be fun. It'll be tiring, but dude, I'm pumped.
Well, hope you guys all do your own Star Wars marathons and let us know how you feel. But let's get started with our looking forward to the Rise of Skywalker. Cody will have some questions for us today.
Oh yeah, so I prepared some questions. This is a little different than anything we've ever done before. I've came up with some ideas, and Logan doesn't have any idea just some of the questions I'm gonna hit him with. So I'm kind of putting him on the spot here.
So when I stutter for 5 minutes, that's why.
Yeah. Okay. First off, though, just give me an overall expectation for this movie.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I know they sometimes say it's dangerous to expect things, but do you have
something I expect?
I don't know. Okay, let me give you my example.
Okay, let's hear your example. It's better.
My overall expectation is I'll be satisfied if I go into it and I feel like all 9 movies were kind of wrapped up and that they all kind of tied together. As long as that happens, I'll be like, you know what? Okay.
Mostly satisfied, kind of regardless.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think for me, it's a similar feeling is like what you talked about when you did our 1 through 6. Like 6 ends on such a conclusive note, you know, that the Empire's defeated. We know it's not, you know, maybe fully over, but like they beat every bad guy really. It's over. Everyone's celebrating. The heroes are alive and the relationships are more cemented, you know, where Han Solo and Leia are officially, you know, gonna be together.
Right.
So just kind of that feeling of like finality and conclusion, I feel like will be so hard to replicate. But that's my expectation or hope, maybe.
Yeah.
It's my last hope.
It's different doing 7, 8, and 9 because it's like, you know, until these ones came out, you kind of just were like, okay, you know, I mean, obviously there's Legends lore and stuff, but it's kind of like, okay, 6 is the end and things are back to good. And then they're like, no, you're going to make 3 after that. Whereas like George Lucas going and doing the prequels, I feel like that's a little bit, he at least had a direction, you know, like, hey,
he knew the end.
Yeah, you know, it's going to end with lead up into episode 4, right? So,
which I think at times was difficult because you're like, oh crap, I have to make this work. But at the same point, he knew like his ending didn't have to conclude with such finality, though I do think
where like episode 6 did.
Although I do think episode 3 did end very well, you know, those shots that you have.
But you honestly, know, it wasn't the end.
Right. So that was kind of a nice part of it.
So I guess the trick will be for JJ to deliver something that can feel as satisfying as episode 6 did,
which
is going to
definitely be difficult. So I'm hoping. So I'm excited to see what JJ did.
All right. So this is what I'm calling our likelihoods, okay? I want to hear you give me like a likelihood. I don't know if you want to do like a 1 to 10 scale or like a just very
10
likely.
10, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, very likely or unlikely. I'm going to go, okay, likelihood of blank happening in episode 9, okay? And this is just pulling from some ridiculous theories to some good theories, whatever. Okay, so
these are
what do you think?
Theories he lays in bed about.
Yeah, what do you think the likelihood of Darth Jar Jar... No, I'm just kidding.
10.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 5.
Likelihood of Rey being Palpatine's daughter. Or granddaughters. It probably is what everyone's saying, right?
I would say 0 out of... I'm going to do everything out of 10. Okay. I would say 0 out of 10, but I feel like that's just arrogant.
Yeah.
So I'll say 1 out of 10 because it feels better.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think so. Pretty sure there's a canon source that said Palpatine never had any children.
Oh, really?
I will have to fact check that, but I'm 97% sure there's a comic that talks about Palpatine's life and how he never actually had any of his own children.
Interesting.
So that's my theory.
For me, I would say like, I'm actually going to go a little higher. I'm just going to say like 5 out of 10, just because I think
that's the most like middle of the road answer.
Literally. Yeah, well, literally. But the only reason I'm giving it more, I don't really necessarily care for it to be a thing personally, but the reason I'm going to give it that is just with, they might not have planned on doing it like that at the beginning, you know, but they also didn't really plan on bringing Palpatine back from the beginning.
According to JJ, he did.
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to say, but then Colin Trevorrow said he really didn't when he was going to be the one directing it.
True.
So it's like, I don't know. Anyways, so I'm just saying there's a chance that they might have rewritten, you know, Rey's identity once they came up with the idea of Palpatine being back. But like I said, 5 out of 10, I don't really think. Maybe I'll say 4 out of 10. 4.5, final answer. Okay. This is a theory me and you have talked about, and I know we wanted to make a podcast, and obviously it's too late at this point.
Maybe we'll do it tomorrow.
But we call it the hand theory, right?
Right. Okay.
So the basic idea was that Rey is a clone used with the DNA from Luke's hand. Okay. So me and you have talked about that theory. I know we both kind of like that theory, which I hated it at first, but the more we talked about it, the more I was like, it actually kind of was growing on me. Mm-hmm. But realistically, what do you think the chances are of something like that happening?
Likelihood, I would say with everything in consideration, and this will be a little bit of a Mandalorian spoiler if you somehow avoided Mandalorian spoilers. I would have to lean closer to a 7 out of 10, and partially that's because I do enjoy the theory, just the theory that Rey is connected to the Skywalkers that fits with the title. I don't think that's going to be the reason of the title, but I do think it fits with the title. It also, I think, is good because I think at the end of the day, most of us want like the Skywalker family to be redeemed.
Right.
So I mean, and people are maybe opposed to Kylo being redeemed, so having it be redeemed through Rey would be interesting, even though it's not necessarily familial.
She wasn't born as a Skywalker, but she's from the same DNA.
Right.
That'd be cool.
And then just kind of the similarities between her and Luke. We talked about one of the components of the hand theory was Palpatine wanted to basically remake Anakin or Luke.
Right.
They have the exact same life pretty much anyway, so. But replicating that sort of style, and that does fit so much with Rey. And I think that would work pretty well, and she's on another desert planet again. We know we're going to find out more about her parentage. And then just with the Mandalorian, this is a spoiler, is that we do see Dr. Pershing, who is definitely related to the cloners on Kamino with the patch on his arm.
Right.
So maybe trying to Favreau and Filoni kind of bringing that in to the light a little more might make more sense with the Mandalorian overall.
No, and when we first started talking about it, like I said at the beginning, I wasn't a fan of the theory, but the more we've talked about it, the more I'm like, dude, like I'd be down for this. And there's actually more things than we thought as we started listening. I wish I had the list in front of me, but it was like, you know,
maybe we'll make something real quick.
Yeah, it was like, well, the lightsaber goes straight to her hand. The whole focus on her hand on Octu when she's snapping her fingers. It's like
she looks to her hand as like her identity when she's asking about it. That was a big one for me.
Ooh, and in that new TV spot, she keeps looking at her hand, which is kind of cool.
That's true.
Anyways, there's a lot of things that we came up with. We're like, oh, that could fit. Or like the lightsaber calling to her because it recognized. I don't know. But anyways, it would just be interesting to me and maybe explain like some of her powers and stuff like that. So it would be cool. Likelihood though, I'm gonna say like maybe closer to you. I think it's more likely than Palpatine being her grandfather.
Give us a number.
Can I copy you? I'll just say 7 out of 10 as well. I like that.
I'm right.
All right. Likelihood of Reylo.
Ooh. I don't know.
And I guess it depends on what extent, but just like...
I'm guessing at least like, they wind up together.
Yeah, sure.
Part of me hopes they end up being brother and sister just because I think it'd be hilarious for all the fan art. That's the main reason.
All the people who have spent years just making this... Granted, there was probably fan art like that back in the day of Luke and Leia, don't you think?
No, there definitely was, I think. I don't know. That's the part that kills me with that
those guys were
show.
Kissing on each other, so... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like they kind of hint at that all the time that people thought Luke and Leia would wind up together.
Which is funny because that show was obviously made after.
Right.
We already knew they were siblings.
But Reylo, if I were to give it a number real quick... I don't know. I honestly think Reylo's a fair option. So I think 6 out of 10.
Okay. For me, I'm thinking somewhere around that same. I'm gonna say like 8 out of 10 though. But that's.
I was struggling. I was like, I don't want to say 7 again, but
yeah. But that's because I'm taking it, guessing it'll be more in the way of like, they come to terms with the fact that they have feelings for each other, but Rey maybe just pretty much is like, but it doesn't matter because we're on opposite sides of this, and I can't forgive what you've done, and so I'm just going to shut that out, and that's kind of the end of it. That's my thought.
That would be interesting to see. I think part of my...
Because she is drawn to him. It might just be a forced thing, whatever, but there's something.
There's definitely something, and I think she might honestly kind of look up to him to an extent.
Yeah.
But just overall, I think for me could a real mutual feeling kind of lead to what happens with Kylo, being redeemed or whatnot.
Okay, so that leads me to my next one.
Is Kylo redeemed?
Yeah, Bendemption. Is Kylo
Bendemption.
Rendemption, Bendemption.
Never
is
heard Bendemption.
He going to be redeemed? And to what extent?
I think yes, so I think 9 out of 10. Pretty confident in that one. I also do want him to be redeemed, just because, like I said, I think at the end of the day, I want the story of Star Wars has been so much about righting wrongs, and people can change, right? I mean, people make fun of The Last Jedi, how like Luke freaks out and is like, he's having a bad dream, gotta kill Kylo, right? And there's definitely a point to that. It's like, that's against Luke's character, but it's also against the moral of Star Wars that people can change and become better, even though they might have done some pretty terrible things. So, leading with that thought, I do think Kylo Ren will be redeemed, though I don't think, I hope we don't get like the Vader thing where he sacrifices himself. That'd be kind of weird.
Like a rehash.
I'm okay with if he like totally gets redeemed and helps Rey and fights, but like I don't want like a sacrifice and throw the Emperor off another pit, because that clearly didn't work. But I'm thinking maybe he like kind of he maybe helps save the day or whatever, but he kind of exiles himself or something because he is weighed down by his burdens. So maybe he's not like a hero of the Resistance, but he does
That'd be interesting.
fight against the bad guy, if it's Palpatine or how that works out. What about you?
I think it's very likely too. I think everything's pointing towards it. I would say 9.1 out of 10.
That's rude.
Just so I'm, Price is Right rules gonna get a little closer. Yeah, it's very likely, I think. But I agree with you. I don't really want it to just be a Vader, exactly like Vader. And then these are just tricky things that JJ's got to navigate once again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see. Anakin or Obi-Wan appearance, or both.
I think Anakin will appear. Go 10 out of 10.
Nice.
I don't know to
Hope
what
you're
extent.
right.
That would be super cool. I feel like the story needs it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It really does, in my opinion. Just Kylo Ren's basically praying to Vader every night. I mean, it would make sense that Anakin appears to some extent, though I do think it's kind of interesting. We do see that Luke, when he had shut himself off from the Force, Yoda really couldn't appear to him. That's at least the vibe I was getting out of Last Jedi.
Yeah, that's interesting. Didn't seem like he had seen Yoda in a while.
So I think part of that would be maybe Kylo, because he's wanting to see Vader. Anakin's not appearing to him because he hasn't realized that like Vader's not who Anakin died as.
Yeah.
But I do think Anakin will appear. I would love to see Obi-Wan, but I would probably lean closer to like a 3 out of 10 on that one, just because I think they'd be worried about using Ewan McGregor as
Instead of
Alec Guinness. Though I would think
most people would probably be.
Would you guys be okay with it? Let us know, actually. That'd be super interesting. I'm going to ask that.
Maybe we should run a poll or
We're
something.
going to run a poll on that actually on Tuesday.
I'd be good with it, personally.
I would be good with it, but that'd be interesting to see what other people I would think. If I was JJ, I would be like,
scared
would
to
people
do it.
be
Yeah.
comfortable with this?
JJ should have put out a poll.
JJ's Insta or Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes or no, Ewan has Force Ghost Obi-Wan. Yeah. What about you?
I think Anakin is very likely, and I don't know if that's me just hoping, but I think that you have to bring him back if you're going to call this movie The Rise of Skywalker, and then say it's the last.
The Skywalker,
Yeah, to me, you have to. You have to. That's like one of my, like, hands down, must do this type of things. So yeah, I would say 9.5 out of 10, let's say. I think that's a thing. Obi-Wan would be an awesome thing. I think we'll maybe get a reference to him, but not him actually appear.
Okay, that's fair.
But like I said, I'm totally down for Ewan as the Force Ghost. I can get past that. It doesn't bother me because I love Ewan that much,
I think they both added to Obi-Wan so well, and Ewan did mimic Alec Guinness so much that I'd be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
It's like the only kind of...
You could just write it off as like we've said before. Ghosts can just appear how they want.
Honestly, kind of looks like Alec Guinness at this point. He's getting old. What was your number for Alec Guinness coming back?
For Alec Guinness?
Yeah. Or sorry, not. He's dead.
Obi-Wan?
0 out of 10. Obi-Wan appearing.
Oh, a lot less likely, but I would say like 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Gotcha.
Okay. Almost done here with these, but this is one that I just barely kind of thought of and right before we started. But what do you think the chances of this movie ending with a new Jedi Order being established? Because Episode 6 ended with like you were expecting Luke to maybe go start training more Jedi, but you don't really know. But this one, do you think it'll kind of end the same, where we're kind of like, oh, maybe Rey will start training, or maybe Force Ghosts will start training. I don't know how it'll go down, but what do you think that it actually establishes something like this is what's happening next, even though we're probably not going to see it on the big screen? Do you think?
I'm going to probably actually lean higher than I initially would have thought with that one.
Okay.
And probably go about an 8 out of 10. Because I do think a Jedi Order is something that, okay, overall I do think the sequels have lacked. Expecting to see Luke as Grandmaster Luke.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of seeing something like that would actually be an interesting way, and maybe a cool tie-in to see some sort of finality is showing Rey like kind of training some kids. Or however that works. Maybe it's Kylo training some kids and Rey was the crazy one. But, some sort of like...
Maybe with Force Ghost Luke training with them?
Like, that would be my preferred method is...
That'd be awesome.
But that's a really long theory. But yeah,
Yeah.
I do think that would add an interesting depth to the overall story. So yeah, what was that? 7 out of 10? No, 8 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah.
B minus.
I'm thinking like they'll hint at it, but we won't actually see anything. That's
Okay.
my guess. I'd say like 4 out of 10. Okay, so one thing we just posted about recently on Instagram and Facebook was that JJ kind of had told someone, a reporter specifically, that, you know, if you're a big Ahsoka fan, you should pay attention to the Rise of Skywalker. So it's pretty much confirmed at that point that there's going to be probably an Easter egg or some sort of cameo, something of dealing with Ahsoka. What extent do you think that will be? That's the question.
I think that we'll probably see Ahsoka. I don't think we'll see Ahsoka.
I agree.
I also think Ahsoka's old.
She will be old, yeah.
So
If not dead. But I'm thinking old. I don't think I don't know, that's just my guess.
yeah, so I do think we'll hear about Ahsoka, and I think that could be in reference to the Ghost, because I do think that'd be the easiest correlation.
Okay.
Kind of with her little bit of interaction with the Rebels crew.
How cool would it be, and this is just a thought that just now came to me, talking about Anakin's Force Ghost. How cool would it be if like Anakin just talking with Rey or Kylo and was like, yeah, when I was training my apprentice Ahsoka, this and this happened. Just like, and that's it.
Up.
Oh, well, that would be cool. But like
Force bushes.
But yeah, even if she's not in it, like even if he just mentions her name like that, like live action Hayden Christensen
mentions Ahsoka,
which
That
has
would
only
be
been
cool.
talked about obviously in
off screen in like the
cartoons.
cartoons.
So that would be like preferred to me. Or but I think more likely it'll be something like Rey's looking through an old Jedi book and
Jedi comic.
here's something.
There's
a comic, yeah. She's like, oh, these Marvel comics are pretty sweet, you know.
Breaks the fourth wall.
Or maybe finds like an item of hers or a holocron. Or, well, I don't know about that, but
I hope Ahsoka doesn't have a holocron. Honestly, that'd be weird. Okay, how would you feel if Ahsoka made an appearance?
well, I mean, ultimately, if they can make her look good and it looks like how we all picture Ahsoka like on the cartoons, that's the only thing I would worry about is us seeing someone who's been a cartoon for so long, and then if they brought her to live action and it just didn't look correct, if they could do it correctly, I'd be super down for it. And I wouldn't want her to have a huge role.
True.
And I'd maybe want her to be like old and not really gonna go out and like kick booty or anything, but maybe just give some guidance or something. I mean, I'm good with it, but I love Ahsoka, so.
Much as the Star Wars community does.
Right.
Myself, I think, like you were saying, just like Ahsoka's always been a cartoon, and we do know that sometimes turning real people into cartoons, they look a little funky.
Yeah.
Some people translate better than others, and I can't imagine a cartoon to a real person transitioning that smoothly. I mean, Ahsoka, one of I think her huge characteristics to me is her big eyes.
Yeah.
People don't have that big of eyes.
Oh,
and then also like Shakti, when we do see her of the same species,
Took her to yeah.
doesn't look like Ahsoka.
No, that's true. It's a lot
You
different
know,
looking.
she looks like a human who's dressed up.
But there's been some awesome cosplay out there too of like
That's
Ahsoka
true.
that looks pretty
There's
good.
some really impressive cosplays. So I think
know.
maybe a decent workaround would be like having a Force Ghost Ahsoka. But then again, I'm not sure how.
What about a puppet Ahsoka, like puppet Yoda?
No, please no. That'd be so weird.
Okay.
What about
CGI?
CGI? No,
Misa
no CGI.
Ahsoka Binks. No. Yeah, I agree. No CGI. No puppet. That was a joke. But okay. What about Dexter Jetster? Is he gonna make an appearance?
Yes.
Dexter's Diner back on Coruscant.
Want a cup of Java?
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting to like 3 more. Okay.
All right.
And then we'll wrap that part of this up. But I want to know if there's any other cameos from other characters we haven't mentioned that you're like, that would be a really cool cameo.
Cameo.
Or even if it's just a mention, I guess.
I feel like the Rebels crew, to an extent, doesn't really work anymore because like the Ghost is seen in it.
Right. So you know that there's gonna be.
So you know there's something with.
Yeah, even if it's just a ship, I guess you could call it an Easter egg or a cameo, sort of.
I would imagine with a ship like the Ghost, they might reference like, oh, that's
least
the
talk
Ghost,
about-
that's
yeah.
Hera's ship, or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So I
I'd
don't
love for her
think
just to come over the radio and just be like, This
900 years old.
This is This is This is
Spectre
this
2,
is
right?
Hera. Yeah. Whatever. Oh yeah. I don't know. So whatever. Her call sign would
She's
be
number 2, right? Pretty sure.
I can't remember.
Pretty sure.
It's impressive. Good job.
Rebels and Disney Plus.
True. For me, I was thinking of just after reading Resistance Reborn and playing Battlefront, I was thinking of Shriv and
that's
what's
a
the
good
daughter's name? Zay. Aiden's
Dang
daughter,
it.
Zay.
That was totally mine. I forgot about her.
Yeah, dude, that would be like that's what I'm hoping for because they actually had a pretty big role in Resistance Reborn, which is cool. So if they could just be kind of there, I'm not saying they need a big role or anything, and something that you don't have to know who they are necessarily to be like, oh, that's cool. Like, oh, they're just there. I don't know.
If they say like Zay's name would be pretty cool,
Right? Because
especially with Shriv, just because
you just
I
don't.
feel like aliens are hard to tell apart.
Yeah, you wouldn't want anybody to be confused.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like who's sitting in the audience. So that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't make it so that you have to know their background to get what's going on.
True,
Obviously.
and I wouldn't want like them to just be in the background and everyone be like, "Is that?" Because
yeah,
oh my
just
gosh,
wanna
I
know.
hate the "is that."
Right, that's always hard. And then you gotta wait like a week. And, oh, did they say anything? Someone asks them about it. Oh yeah, that is who that is. Yeah,
And then it
that's
just
annoying.
feels so much less satisfying.
That's true. Okay, so yeah, I'm going for that as being my like hopeful.
Your hopeful cameo.
Yeah.
Okay, then mine is. Never mind, I have none.
Nothing coming to mind. Wedge Antilles.
But like, he's kind of confirmed.
Well, kind of. I mean, yeah, I think he will be in it.
I'm pretty sure Wedge is in it.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool. That was honestly like the one that I was kind of hoping for, like subtly throughout, that Wedge would kind of make a comeback.
Right.
So then when he was confirmed, I was pumped. So, or not confirmed, but confirmed.
Right. Any other Force Ghosts? Or are you good with just like Anakin? And
I would love to see.
possibly.
I would love to see Anakin, Kenobi, Yoda, Luke. Luke, please have a freaking huge role.
Yeah.
Just really want to see Luke, honestly. You know, growing up with the originals. And then I'd honestly love to see Qui-Gon. I feel like he's the only one who really belongs there.
That'd be awesome.
So that would be really cool.
Okay. This might be the hardest one. Actually, I'm gonna do that one last. Sorry. Okay. We talked about Cal Kestis's powers.
Oh right.
And playing Fallen Order. Do you think there'll number one be any Fallen Order references? But two, Cal's power, where he kind of
Force
touches
Echo.
things. That was called Force Echo. That's right. And he kind of can sense things that happened. We talked about how that possibly could correlate to Rey touching the lightsaber in Episode 7. Maybe she has the same power. What do you think the likelihood of that happening? Do you want that? Do you think that's would be cool?
I struggle with this one, just because I feel like too much could be explained away with it. It'd be like too much of an easy cop out, maybe.
I see what you're saying.
But
Yeah.
I do think, well, just because like, so to me, the first thing I think of is Cal Kestis. If you haven't played Fallen Order, you're kind of gonna hit a spoiler at the end. But when he fights the second sister for the
Is it
second time when he grabs her lightsaber from her, he has a flashback and he sees everything from her perspective, which is the first time we really see him have a super strong, like kind of Force Echo, and he sees it from her perspective, but he has like seems to have no control over what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think immediately of Rey grabbing the lightsaber and having that flashback to Episode 5, basically on Bespin.
She didn't have any control, kind of thing.
I feel like she had way more than he did.
Oh,
And
really?
I don't know, she seemed to be able to look around more. Luke never looked around in the film. You know, Luke's kind of like, when Luke has that thought in Bespin with the lightsaber, Luke's kind of walking through. He's not like looking around and turning like she is. So that was, to me, like, I feel like that part doesn't fit. Because that seems a little different. But I mean, maybe Rey's better at it, so where she can kind of...
Luke or Cal?
Luke.
What am I... Wait.
Rey, son of a gun. Okay.
You're confusing me.
So when Luke is on Bespin and fighting Vader, Luke
Yeah.
kind of walks through the hallway that Rey gets transported to when she grabs his lightsaber.
Uh-huh.
Luke just kind of walks through it, you know, glancing, seeing if Vader's going to kill him.
Yeah.
Rey, when she appears, she like does like a full 360 what's
Yeah.
going on sort of thing.
Uh-huh.
Where when we see Cal take over or go through that flashback with the second sister,
he's seeing through her.
he just sees through her as exactly what she saw.
I totally get what you're saying now.
So they're different to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like
That
they
makes
shouldn't
sense.
be different. But then again, you could be like, no, Rey has really a powerful, because apparently she is anyways.
Yeah.
So she could be a little better at it.
Yeah. Interesting. Or if maybe she just feels it different. I don't know.
But
I thought...
I do think using it would be kind of cool just to... Because just more legend stuff and how like Force people were able to like kind of delve. This person had this sort of specialty. This person could learn this. This person could learn that. That was such a cool part of Legends that hasn't, for the most part, been talked about. Like Quillen Voss does have Force Echo in the Clone Wars, and that's cool. But like more of it would be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I just think that'd be cool because I was always like, man, it's so weird. Like that she touched the lightsaber. I didn't like the way I thought Moss kind of was saying it was like the lightsaber's calling to you, like which I think more likely it's like the Force that's calling to her and guided her to the lightsaber. Because I don't think the lightsaber itself, it's not like a wand in Harry Potter. At least
Kyber crystal.
I mean, I guess the Kyber crystal is kind of alive.
Kind of calls to the Jedi, right?
I guess that's kind of true, actually. That's a good
You're
point.
supposed to go to the one that calls you, right?
Yeah.
Haha.
That's a good point. But I just like
That
the
is
idea of it not, of like the lightsaber didn't show her that. But I guess that you could say it's the Force. But I just think it'd be cool if it was the Force Echo. I don't know. I just like the idea. But okay.
That's
last one here.
The last
Hardest one.
Jar Jar
Tell me who
dies.
Yeah. Who's gonna die?
Who's gonna die?
Good job. You knew that was coming?
Yeah. Here's maybe an opposite one. I don't think Leia dies.
Okay.
And I think
That'd
a lot
be cool.
of people have said Leia's gonna die, and I don't think Leia will die.
Just kind of...
Because I think it's a tool move. Like, Carrie Fisher did die. Like, we don't need to fake kill Carrie Fisher. It seems kind of jacked up. Especially because I think she made it through 8, and they made that decision to not kill her off in 8, when there was 1 to 2 opportunities that they could have.
Right.
With the footage they had. So... I think she won't die.
You're like, if she was gonna die, they would have.
It should have been done in 8, I think. But
yeah, that's good logic.
But overall,
I like it.
So I do think Carrie Fisher will live and Leia will live, and that's really cool. Could be wrong though. Now dying, I'm not thrilled about this, but my thought for who dies is the Emperor first of all, because I mean the bad guy dies. But beyond that, Chewie.
Oh, goodness.
And I don't like
Gracious.
that. But in Legends, the initial part was Chewbacca was the first one to die. In all of them in Legends.
To be fair, he's
protecting
the
his
oldest.
son. Dude's what, 250 something now?
What?
Chewbacca?
Didn't they say he was like 400 years old in Solo?
It's 200, I thought.
200 years old? I thought he said 400. Anyways, he's old.
He's older, I mean, and... I don't know, they've been kind of using him less and less, it seems.
Well, I hope he doesn't die.
Yeah, that would be nice. So, that's kind of my 234. Huh?
Crap.
You're 200 years off.
I don't know why I thought that.
Alright, who are you thinking?
To me, like, the person who makes the most sense today, I think it'll be like episode 6 where they won't kill any of the main, like, people off. Like, Poe, Finn, Rey.
They'll all make it?
Yeah, I think they'll make it.
Is Chewie still the main character, though?
I mean, I think so.
I think he should be, I just don't know
if he is. In this one, I hope he will. But I just don't see them doing it, but the one that would make sense to me to kill would be Poe. And just because if... They're not going to kill Rey, in my opinion. Yeah, she's like the next generation of Jedi, right?
All girls everywhere would be crushed. All little children.
If Finn was going to die, it would have been in The Last Jedi. When he was going to sacrifice himself, right?
I have opinions about that.
It would be really dumb if they killed him off after that happening, right?
Aha, see? My point about Leia.
Well, that's true, too. Poe, though, I think it would make more sense because he is like a Han Solo kind of character to me. He's like
he's
pilot, gunslinger, rebel, sort of, like even kind of goes against the grain.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would make sense in... the sense that he feels like he has to recommit himself, make up for what he did in The Last Jedi. Because he carries that guilt of the fact that he got their whole bomb squadron wiped out, you know, and then also the mission that he blew by going behind General Purple Hair's Admiral Holdo's back. So he's got that guilt, and they talk about that a lot in Resistance Reborn. So to me, it makes sense that he would recommit himself, and then at the end be willing to sacrifice himself and be okay with that.
But will Rose save him?
Rose just comes out of nowhere and saves Poe. But I don't think he'll do it. But I think he makes the most sense. So yeah, I'm going to say Kylo's going to die.
But he just said Redemption's a thing.
After he's
confusing.
redeemed.
He's gonna
Sorry,
redeemed and then
Ben's gonna die.
Ben's
Let
gonna
me asterisk that. Ben is going to die, and I think, the Emperor will die. Here's an interesting question about it, because that's really all I got. I don't think Lando's gonna die.
I hope not. That'd be ridiculous.
Here's the thing that's interesting to me, and let me say this: how do I say that? How can JJ kill off the Emperor? Okay, assuming that the
kill
Emperor's
him off again.
yeah.
For sure.
So let's assume that the Emperor is alive in the flesh. Like, we're assuming, but let's pretend. Okay?
I think even as a clone, how would you kill him off to where it's the Emperor's dead, done, check mark, boom.
Because how do you know that if we're gonna believe that he somehow survived, his essence, whatever survived past episode 6, you got to give us a more decisive conclusion then for us to be okay, he's actually dead this time.
Which is really impressive because he got hurtled off a thing into an energy thing which exploded, and then the Death Star blew up.
And he screamed.
I think that was the least decisive factor, but yes.
It was the freaking boom for me. But, yeah, so how do they do that?
How do you kill off Sidious? But
actually
already kill off Sidious.
Was dead. Have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis? The Wise? Darth Palpatine, the
unkillable
zombie.
Okay, so I have a thought about this, and one of the things I do think we'll see is a reboot of the Lord Momin from Darth Vader comics, so he will have survived by existing in a relic. I think it would be really cool if it's his lightsaber.
That would be cool.
Just because his lightsaber's super cool. I just thought of it.
It is a very cool lightsaber.
Or it's this little broken chair. But no, so that he kind of imbued some sort of force ability like Lord Momin did, and he can come back through XYZ, through a difficult but possible way, and that's kind of how we'll see him again. So to me, I feel like Harry Potter rules apply here, and you break the lightsaber, you win. And that is what we did with Lord Momin's mask, right? We broke it and killed Lord Momin, and Lord Momin's gone.
Right.
So that would be my theory, is you have to find how he came back, boom, cut it off.
Dead. It's like a Horcrux.
Yeah, it's Horcrux. Horcrux rules.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, how do I think that...
how can you kill off Palpatine and kill off Palpatine?
So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't.
Reverse Force Lightning.
It really... it really depends on... if it's a clone, I think they gotta not only wipe his clones and him and whatever out, you gotta wipe out the whatever they're cloning him from.
Right, that's a good point. You have to, at the end of the day, I think that he has to have returned through some sort of source. You have to kill the source.
Gotta get that answer. You gotta kill the source. That's the point. I really, really hope, although I said in the last podcast that I think more than likely, I have a bad feeling they're just not gonna explain how he came back, and I hope that's not
look
true.
at Sidious.
Yeah, he's just gonna be like, "What's up, dude?" And they're just gonna be like, "What's up?" And then
I don't even know who you are.
Well, that's a fair point. Well, they should. I mean, he ruled.
I think
galaxy,
Kylo should
right?
know.
Kylo at least know.
I don't know. People literally forget the Force is a thing every 20 years.
Yeah, ancient history is like last week in this universe. But I don't know. I'm worried that they're going to do that because they need to explain it, in my opinion. They need to. Don't leave that for guessing and theories. That would be awful. That really would be awful.
All right. Well, he has strong opinions about that. Is that the last question?
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Well, that's all she wrote. I think the last thing that we want to talk to you guys about is just overall, keep watching The Mandalorian because it's cool.
That's true.
How much do you think The Mandalorian is going to impact The Rise of Skywalker? Just an overall rating, 1 being not very much, 10 being integral to the story.
I'm going to say a solid 2.
Okay.
Just because there's only one thing that I see. Okay, 2 things that I see even being a possibility at this point. And obviously we haven't seen the last 2 episodes, so we don't know. But the only thing I see being a possibility is the cloning stuff coming into play with Dr. Pershing. And number 2, if we see the Razor Crest in that big ship and he's in the final battle.
I guess Mando could totally be alive. He'd be 50-something?
He'd be older, but he could be there.
That'd totally blow any questions about if he's going to survive season 2 out of the water, though.
That's a fair point.
I do think,
though.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Razor Crest is there, so that was kind of one of my things, that the Razor Crest is there, and then just the question of cloning.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I don't think they'll do much with it, personally.
I'm hoping for maybe like a Solo-esque sort of feel where at the end you find out Maul, who was alive through the Clone Wars and stuff, and then kind of has that storyline through Rebels, etc., is alive and involved, but like, and was maybe pushing some of the events, but like not like Maul came out and did X, Y, Z. So I think it'd be cool to be like, look, not that I think the Mandalorian has a much better carryover than the Clone Wars and the Rebels to like the general Star Wars public.
Because it's live action.
Everyone wants to watch live action. That's just how it is. So I do think they don't need to be like, hey, look, the TV show matters too, but I do think that they'll mention it to some extent. And that'd be cool. Because I think it's always cool that Star Wars, like we say, shows the continuity and shows how connected everything in the galaxy is.
Okay, what if the last scene is Rey training Baby Yoda?
Spoiler. If you didn't know Baby Yoda existed, though, I'm disappointed in you.
Everybody, I think it's too. Yeah, I don't
it's too.
Consider that a spoiler at this point. But what if she's just training Baby Yoda?
Honestly, if the rest of the movie sucked, but I see Baby Yoda, I probably would still clap.
Be happy.
Be like, they just kill Rey. They don't explain anything. Palpatine rules the galaxy. Don't know how he came back. No. Palpatine dies and Jar Jar rules the galaxy forever and ever. But Baby Yoda like floats by in his crib. Don't even care.
Cool. Best movie ever. Great job.
10 out of 10. I would rate it.
Great job, JJ.
Alright, probably not. That'd be really cool though. I could go for some Baby Yoda on the big screen.
That'd be fun.
Well, guys, it's 3 days away, 4 days away, however long it is for you all by the time this is up. But we're super excited to see it, and like we said, we want to hear everything you have to say. Just a thought, this is something that's been important to me, is that never support something that isn't good.
Yeah.
But I do think Star Wars has changed all of our lives, or I don't know why you're listening to us, or clicking on a Star Wars page. And this is the last opportunity that the trilogy, from the original trilogy, that has changed our lives and has been an impactful part of our lives, is going to be around again. There will always be Star Wars, but this will be kind of the last chance.
Yeah.
This is the last Skywalker.
Right.
And definitely go give it a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Give it a chance. I just, even if you don't, regardless of how you feel about anything, I think Star Wars has earned my chance, for at least the rest of Skywalker Saga.
I will always try a Star Wars.
Oh, absolutely.
And if it is good, show your support. Something that's always kind of been in the back of my mind is like Star Wars at one point owned the record for the box office. It was quickly beat by E.T., but that's because Spielberg's a genius too. But
it'd be cool if we had that again.
It'd be nice to have it again, especially after Endgame, because I don't think anything will break it for a long time.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Avatar 2. I don't think so though. I really don't.
No.
So give it a chance, and then let us know what you have to say about it. And if you do like it, show your support, because Star Wars is truly magical.
Absolutely.
Well, see you all next time, and may the Force be with you.